members of Enmore Park. It's another rainy day up at the club. Unfortunately the course is closed, but it does give me a chance to bring you the first instalment of what we hope will be a monthly series of tips and hints to help you improve your game and lower your scores. This first one we're going to look at driver distance, which I know everybody wants to improve. We obviously invested at the end of 2019 in the GC Quad launch monitor for our fittings and coaching, and what this thing can do goes way beyond what any coach can really see with the naked eye. When we're doing fittings, we're looking at your ball speed, your club head speed, your spin rates, your launch angle, which are all important when we're trying to fit the clubs correctly for you, to give you the right shafts and the right loft. But the thing I want to look at today, which is something very simple that can give you a dramatic difference in distance, and that's what we call angle of attack. That simply means how much you either hit down on the ball or hit up on the ball when you're coming into impact, basically. And you will be surprised at the difference that that can make in the carry distance and overall distance. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so when we're looking at angle of attack, and as we mentioned, it's whether you hit down or up on the ball. A lot of the time when we see it with fittings in coaching, it can stem from just a simple setup change. So what we mean by that is where we position the ball in our stance and how we tilt our upper body. All too often we'll see players with the ball positioned too much in the middle of their stance, and therefore their zip line or their sternum is almost to the left of the golf ball for the right-handed golfer, and that actually encourages them to hit down in towards the ground, which is great if you're hitting an iron because the ball is invariably on the ground. But with a driver, we actually want to be in a position where the ball position is much more forward in our stance, on the left instep, possibly even on the left toe, and we want to tilt slightly behind it to create an upward angle of attack, an upward motion into the ball. Now, depending on your swing speed, that can have a dramatic effect in terms of the overall distance that you have. And what we're going to do now is hit two shots, one where I'm hitting down on the ball and one where I'm hitting slightly up on the ball. My swing speed isn't the fastest in the world. I'm somewhere between 98 and 102. I will try and swing it a little slower just to kind of simulate a bit more what the average amateur swing speed would be, but we'll see the difference in the angle of attack number and therefore the total distance and the carry distance as well. So let's have a look. Okay, so we're looking at the virtual range here in the golf studio, and as I said, the first shot I'm going to try and hit down on the ball quite a lot, achieving this by having the ball position in the middle of my stance and my weight leaning a little on my left side. This is something that we see a lot in our lessons, in our custom fitting sessions as well, and how much that affects the carry distance and the total distance of the shot. So here goes. Okay, so we can see here, angle of attack is 2.3 degrees down. That makes the launch angle quite low as well. So that is its initial launch from the tee. My backspin is a little down. I'm normally around 2,200, but that's fine. The carry distance we can see here is 219 yards with a total different distance of 249. So I'm now going to hit one. Swing speed is a little down for me, I must admit. So I'm going to hit one where my swing speed is hopefully similar, and we're going to try and improve this attack angle to around 4 or 5 degrees up, and then we should see this carry improve quite significantly. So here we go. So ball position is now forward in my stance, slightly wider stance, and we're going to lean back slightly as well. Okay, so attack angle is quite a lot up. I tried to exaggerate a little bit to emphasize the point. Club head speed, very similar, so 94 compared to the 92. The carry has gone up from 219 to 247, so that's nearly 30 yards difference with 22 yards total carry distance. I will just show you the chart, which will show you that a bit clearer. So looking at the table, so we can see here ball speed very similar between the two shots. The launch angle went up 10 degrees. That's because I hit up more on the ball. Spin almost identical. What we're looking at now, you see, is the carry difference. So 219 to 247. So simply hitting up on the ball will give you much more distance. All things being equal, I hit them pretty solid, and we gain 20 yards difference in the total distance. So people think when you're hitting more up that you're going to lose less roll. That's not necessarily the case. We're looking for optimum numbers as well. Obviously we're looking for a decent strike. So all things being equal, if you hit it the same all the time, the more you hit up on the ball, the bigger the distance you're going to carry. And it's very much about carry in this game. At Enmore Park, we have a lot of holes where we need to carry it over water. And so this is important. So with a driver, hitting up on the ball gives you nearly 30 yards of distance. So as you can see, by just that slight change in our ball position, which enabled us to get more behind the ball and tilt slightly behind it, that changed our angle of attack from a negative downward motion into a positive upward motion, and we gained nearly 30 yards in carry distance. That is huge, simply because we're not trying to swing it any faster, we're just delivering the club better into the golf ball and optimizing the launch conditions and the spin rates. Yes, you need to strike it cleanly, that's important, but all things being equal, if you can hit upward with the driver, you're going to give yourself the best chance of hitting it the furthest distance that you can. In the studio, we obviously want to fit you for the right clubs. That's important to us. For me, I want to make sure that you've got the right equipment to go with your swing and your swing speed. But sometimes it's just a simple case of a slight change in our setup, which can enable us to get into much better positions at impact and achieve the desired outcome that we're looking for. If you think you're someone who does tend to hit down on the ball, then please come and see us. We can get you in the studio and onto the quad and have a look at your numbers. If you want any more answers or have any more questions, then please either email me or pop in the shop and see us, and we can go through it further.